Warning. If the thumbnail didn't give it away, this video contains images of illustrated gore and violence that may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi everybody, welcome to RaiMagination. I'm Ray, or Ray's Memoji. This is actually something cool that my new iPhone can do, and I thought, how can I use it? The coolest thing is, I can be so many different things. An alien, a unicorn, a poop, or even a real bonehead. But today, I'm gonna be a zombie. Yeah, so this is about as close to a zombie as we could get. Just pretend the freckles are rotted skin and, wounds and rotting blood and stuff. So, this channel is called RaiMagination, so use your imagination. Why am I being a zombie today, you ask? Well, that's an excellent question. You see, my husband, Eddie, is a mechanic, and he had gotten this new toolbox that had such a nice, wide open space that I thought it could use a woman's touch. Specifically, this woman's touch. And Eddie's favorite show is The Walking Dead, so I thought, zombie mural. The only problem with that, of course, is that I don't really draw zombies. And I'd never drawn a mural before, but I thought, how hard could it be? It's just a picture that's big. Yeah, how hard could it be? My big toe. I mean, this thing's like 50 inches long by only 10 inches high, for grime's sake. I mean, what kind of dimensions are those? I decided to break up the mural into 5 easier to digest pieces. This would make it less intimidating, but also my kitchen table wasn't long enough to accommodate such a girth of 50 inches.
That's what she said!
I wanted there to be a real depth to the scene so that the longer you look, the more you see. I've looked it up and there does not seem to be an overall term for foreground, midground, and background without having to say all of them all of the time. So I'm going to give them the overall term of field of view, which may be what they're called in any case, I don't know. I don't have a fancy schmancy art degree. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Anywho, I knew I wanted the foreground to be super close up.
Extreme close up! Whoa! Whoa! Excellent. Extreme close up.
And then there would be a near midground, a far midground, and a background. Each of these getting smaller, darker, and less defined until it's just a black silhouette against a brilliant sky. Since this is a mural for Eddie's toolbox, I figured he would be the main character, so I started drawing him first, and then figured I'd go from there. Usually I like to get all of the composition down beforehand, Commandment 4, but since this is such a big piece with so many details, I didn't want to get them all down in pencil, then smudge the crap out of them doing the rest. This is my zombie. His name is Smudge. Also, such a big piece is really overwhelming, so I figured that cementing down the foreground would break the other layers into more manageable chunks, which it did nicely. zombies are out of my element, I knew I needed to find a way to make it interesting for myself in order to get into it and really do my best work. I decided each character would need to have their own story. I started this project right after Eddie and I got married, so I decided that the super close-up foreground would need to be Eddie and I teaming up against the zombies. Then the others just unfolded as I drew them. Hippie, the peace-loving zombie who only eats vegan, and Skippy, the vegan. Tank, the OSU football player who takes playing your guts out to a whole new level. Like that cheerleader who was always on some crazy kind of diet, but who finally found an all-you-can-eat buffet that she can really sink her teeth into. La Renee, who was about to get her hair done when some rude punk kid came in and ate her face, so she ripped her own arm off and beat him with it. Little Susie Sweetheart, who will suck the soul right out of your body with those white demon eyes. Brutus Buckeye. Need I say more? I mean, who do you think bit the Michigan fan? Goodbye, nurse. Honey, your PPE just got turned to PPZ. That face mask ain't doing nothing for this virus. The lawfully wedded zombies. These bridal brain eaters said to heck with the death do us part. By the power vested in me by the state of hysteria, I now pronounce you man and zombie. You may now eat the bride. The rest of the far middle ground and background was primarily just silhouette, and you could think that this was easy, right? Because after all, I didn't have to draw the details and stuff of the near layers. This is what I thought, but alas, it is not so. In fact, you have to concentrate harder on the details that make up the edges of a silhouette so that it actually looks like something instead of just made up junk. This is where the holes come in really handy, like holes between bent arms and the torso of a body or windows on a building. I would encourage you to Google reference photos for what you want to make silhouettes out of and then put them together and color them black. Then just draw them into your background. In fact, that's exactly what I did for the buildings of this background. There was a template with a lot of different city skylines from which I took a building here and a building there and making sure I got a good mix of short ones and tall ones. I think I even included that insanely tall building that my cousin's wedding reception was held at on the 81st floor that scared the bejesus out of me. I was really quite relieved to be done with the line work because that meant that I didn't have to try to come up with stuff that was out of my comfort zone anymore. All I had to do was color it now, which should come naturally. That was my only assumption about this whole friggin' project that actually panned out. For the two close-up zombies, I decided to lay down a base of live skin tone since they had once started out as live humans, then build up layers of greens and purples for decay. Now, if you overwork a spot with alcohol markers, you can get some pretty weird results like odd white spots, inability to add another color, and just add an odd texture maybe. And usually this isn't what you want to happen, but I figured, can't hurt a zombie's complexion. I do my grocery shopping at Kroger, and I shop for deals. And I love to ring up all of my groceries and then scan my Kroger Plus card to see all of the satisfying discounts just add up. It's on that same principle that I saved adding the blood and gore to my zombies. It's so satisfying how the smallest touches can make it so gross. Just think of that next time you're perusing the produce aisle. Somebody in some anatomy class somewhere is seeing this and is like,
Nope, that's not what it would look like if the spine popped out of the skin. Nope.
Of course, Eddie and I needed to have a bright, live skin tone, but the important thing that separates us from the midground is that rim lighting. See the bits of white that outline parts of our features? That represents the light that is coming over the background cityscape and illuminating us. This really makes us pop since there will be very little other absolute white anywhere in the finished piece. I considered a lot of different things when it came to the midground and what color scheme I might go with. I knew it would be darker and the colors less bold than the foreground, so I first put in a base of gray values to nail in that darker desaturated look right away. I was thinking of leaving it that way to be more contrasting to the foreground, but Eddie said,
So, are you gonna color that?
so I had to give him what he wanted, and I gotta say, it was the right move. Another very satisfying moment is when all of the color is done and I put on the white gel pen to make everything glisten. And nothing glistens quite like fresh zombie gore in the morning. The most satisfying thing, though, is when it's all done. Though, in this case, that included safeguarding it to be put onto Eddie's toolbox in a way that it wouldn't get scratched or torn or soaked with various car fluids that he comes home smelling like. I made prints of the 5 panels to be the ones that go on the box instead of the originals. That way, if something happened to one or more of them, then we could just take another print of the original and replace it. Originally, I thought to reinforce the panels with chipboard, protect them with adhesive laminate sheeting, and stick it to Eddie's toolbox with magnets. And I did. However, it kept sliding every time he opened and closed his drawer, and the chipboard made it just too thick. Good thing we had a second set of prints. Now we opted for a simpler solution and laminated just the prints and superglued them to his box. That way we're sure they won't be too thick, and also they won't move around at all. But waste not, want not, and the magnetic version sticks snugly on our refrigerator. Nothing like going to see what's for dinner and seeing, oh, a severed head. And I'll tell you, it tickles me green every time I hear that somebody else has given a compliment to Eddie about his toolbox. He's proud to say he's got the hottest box in the shop. And I want to thank you so much for joining me on another adventure of RaiMagination today. And if you're tickled green, then please go ahead and hit that like button. And I'd love to read your comments down below. And to join me on future adventures of RaiMagination, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and get that bell on. And until next time, keep on keeping on.